Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Buffalo Bills pregame report. Buffalo Bills face taking on the Carolina Panthers today, presented to you by the Nickel City Mafia YouTube channel. Joining me today, first of all, I'm Mike Thornton. You see it right there on the screen. But joining me, as always, is my co-host, Jake Podger. Jake, how you doing today?
I'm fantastic, Mike. Ready to play, baby. Let's do it.
All right, awesome. And then joining us as well, special guest today, we have from the Red, White, and Bills YouTube channel, Shawn Kula. Shawn, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, guys. Ready to get on a win streak.
Man, we're super excited to have you join us today. I mean, we're both kind of new to the YouTube world. We're new channels, and I always say you can never have too much Buffalo Bills content.
Amen.
Right? You can never. I'm always looking. All right, who's next? All right, I'm finished up that show. Let me go check out Shawn over here. And Shawn brings some great content. He's a great presenter. He does live shows. He does pre-recorded shows. So his information is in the description. I'm going to give him a little bit here to talk about himself a little bit. But his link to his channel's in the description. So please check him out. Give him a lot of support. He does a fantastic job. And again, I'm going to put, right now I have a link to his channel, but I'm going to also add other ways that you can connect to him through his social media platforms. So with that, Shawn, why don't you introduce yourself to the folks and tell us a little bit about your channel and why you came up with this idea like I did 7 months ago. So, and I know you're about 3 months in. So tell the folks about yourself.
Well, first off, guys, thank you for having me on. I found you guys a couple weeks ago on Instagram, watched your show. Now here we are doing a live collab together, and I really can't wait to get started. I started back in week 3, and part of it was because I'd always talk to my wife about football, one of my close friends about football for hours, and they'd just be like, yeah, okay, yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I was like, I gotta do something. Like maybe I should start a YouTube channel. And then I thought about Red, White, and Bills because that's our colors, red, white, and blue. And I was prior service in the Army, so I was like, oh, this kind of just goes hand in hand. So I was surprised nobody had the name, but I thought it was a good name, so I rolled with it. And I do pregame shows, postgame shows, breaking news stuff like Dawkins being out, people signing contracts. I'm gonna get into like drafting, and because I don't watch much college football, but I started to this year because obviously that's big content in the off season. So we get into that, and then I saw what you guys did with the live film breakdown, so I want to get into that too because that's also really great content. But I'm enjoying it, I'm loving it. Check me out, Red, White, and Bills. If you like the content, subscribe and like and share. Appreciate it, guys.
Love it.
Love it too. Yes. Your story is very similar to Jake because Jake's the same thing. He loves to talk football. His wife doesn't really like to talk football. So he's always looking for folks to talk football. And I know he had done something prior to this show as well. But yeah, similar story, right, Jake?
Very similar. Shawn, I just want to say cheers. Thank you for your service. I'm bringing back the Blues, Mike. We're back, baby. We're on the train. So I'm going to open this up. This one's to you, Shawn.
Appreciate
it, man. Absolutely.
And hopefully everyone notices we're going strong today with the Bills gear.
Across the board.
I know I always get a lot of flack for not wearing my Bills gear, but I have one. It's the good old Jimmy Kelly. I'm a little old school. And then I think who you're representing? You're representing a Hyde today over there, Jake?
I always Micah Hyde. I'm not taking it off until he shows me otherwise, Mike. And even so, I support this guy through thick and thin. So just got to keep it rolling.
All right.
You guys, my flag. I got Jim Kelly,
nice.
Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Singletary, and Levi Wallace signed it up there. So
that's beautiful, man.
Trying to fill that flag up.
Yeah,
awesome.
Nice. And you got a Motor Singletary jersey on there?
Yep.
I love it. That's Mike's guy.
That's Mike's guy, yes, sir.
That's cool, man.
We're going to talk a little bit about him a little later. So before we get started on our show, we do have some admin stuff to do. First of all, if you're new to the channel and you haven't already done this, drop a nickel on that subscribe button, like, share, comments. We love when you guys interact with us. And do the same. Make sure you smash that button, that subscribe button, when you go over to Shawn's channel, Red, White, and Bills. Please do the same. We appreciate you and couldn't thank you enough. So also, today was the end of our giveaway. Oh, man. We jump over to that here.
Big time.
We were giving away we ran the last 4 weeks a Fanatics gift card, $500 gift card. To Fanatics, for those that are familiar with Fanatics, this is where you go for all your official licensed gear. And today it ended. I did the drawing a little bit before we went live. And the winner, who we'll be reaching out to after the show, is Alfonso Sanchez from Las Vegas, Nevada.
All right.
So, Alfonso, you were also part of our first giveaway, so we appreciate you coming back. Keep coming back because we hope to have more giveaways, but we hope you come back to our channel for more than just the giveaways. So we hope you love the content. But either way, again, appreciate everyone. I mean, Jake and Shawn, we had over 2,000 people get into this contest.
That's incredible.
In the Josh Allen helmet, I don't know, Shawn, you're new. We gave away a Josh Allen autographed helmet last month. And we only had 600 people interested in that, which boggles my mind. But apparently the $500 gift card to Fanatics appeals to more people because maybe they're not all Bills fans, but which is totally fine. True. So anyhow, 2,000 people, unbelievable. Had awesome. A lot of great stories, and all you had to do was share a holiday memory. So it was super cool. A lot of these were tear jerkers. I was like, dang, I wish I had hundreds of these gift cards that I can just give out. But I will say right now, for those joining, we are going to do something fun. We always ask for a score prediction, so please get your score prediction in the channel. If you predict who wins, and the closest one to predict the score is going to win a $50 gift card. So please, after the game, during the show, at any time, and I'll bring it up a few times, so those joining late don't miss out. So put that prediction. Shawn, that includes you. You're included in this, and Jake, of course, that includes you. I know we give our predictions at the end. All right. So enough of that. Let's get into our show a little bit here. All right. Let's talk about the injury report today. All right. On the Buffalo Bills side, we have AJ Epinesa questionable. We have Star Latuale questionable. Hopefully get him back. Taiwan Jones, special teams expert there. He's questionable. Emmanuel Sanders is doubtful. He won't be playing today. Big news, I think this broke just a couple days ago. Deon Dawkins is put on the COVID list, and Tyrell Dodson is on the COVID list as well. So I want to go to you guys because this is kind of big news. Deon Dawkins, our left tackle, he's been pretty much the staple most of the year over there on the left side. Jake, I'll start with you. Who's going to fill those shoes?
So we talked about this over text, Mike, originally, and I'm a big Tommy Doyle guy. He's technically our left tackle. He's our backup left tackle. I don't think he's ready to play just yet. Unfortunately, he's very raw. We took him late out of Miami, Ohio, MAC guy. Huge supporter of the MAC. I want him to play eventually. He's a mammoth too. He's like 6'8", 3-something. Just a monster. But even more so, he's more raw than Spencer Brown even. So I think maybe what they'll do is they'll shift Spencer Brown from right tackle to left and play Darrell Williams at right tackle. I think that probably is the most logical thing to do.
Wow.
We'll see. Yeah, and I'm not sure what they're going to do with John Feliciano either. I don't know if he's going to play or not. I know Ike Butker was in the guard position there too. I don't want Cody Ford playing at guard, so maybe you play Feliciano and Butker at guard there, or Ryan Bates even. Ryan Bates played a little tackle too. Now he's a center. He's a backup center. He's a backup guard. He's kind of all over the place. So you could do a lot of different things there, but I think what we may do is take Spencer Brown and put him at left tackle, see what he can do. It's going to be a good test.
All right, interesting. I think I watched the show of Shawn's the other day, and he has an interesting take. So, Shawn, let me throw it over to you. Who do you think they're going to slide over there, and who do you think they should?
Well, I'll say first what I think they're going to do, and then I'll put my opinion after that. I think they're going to put Brown left tackle, Bakker left tackle, Morse, and then Feliciano, and then put Williams at right tackle. That's what I think they're going to do. Knowing the Bills, that's probably what they'll go with. But I was thinking, why don't you try Cody Ford back at right tackle? Because we all saw it as a rookie. He started all 15 games at right tackle. The last game we rested our starters minus Quit in Spain, because we were making the playoffs. So put Ford back at right tackle. He started right tackle every game for the last year in college because they moved him from guard to tackle in college.
Right.
So when they moved him from right tackle to left guard, I was kind of thinking not every player can play every position on the line. So maybe he's just not all set out for guard. And then now he gets season-ending injury last year, not much experience. And then they put him at right guard, all because we brought Williams in. But now Williams is really not that great at right tackle right now. So why not put Cody Ford back at right tackle, see what you have in him, because we might not even keep Williams next year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just to see if he's maybe not a starter, but who can be a backup to Brown, and they can battle out for right tackle next year. So I would, Ford at right tackle, Williams right guard, Morse, Ike, and Brown. And even you could try that out, and if it doesn't work, then you can go to what I think they're going to do.
Make an adjustment. Yeah.
So I just think like he kind of had a bad shake. He was mishandled, because even Von Miller was like, oh, for a rookie, he handled himself so well against me. I was really impressed with how he played. And it's kind of how like we're treating Brown right now. How he's pretty good for a rookie. Ford was even better than Brown was, because he could do both pass blocking and run blocking. Now Brown can only run block. So I think by Cody Ford being mishandled, it kind of set him back a lot. And now people want him out the door. So I think before they do that, I think they should try him back at right tackle, because he's not cut out for guard, which I agree with. He may not be ready for guard yet, as he's proven, but he proved he could play right tackle. So I think they should give that a try. But I think, like I said, they'll put Williams, Feliciano, Morris, Ike, and Brown.
Okay. You know what? That's an interesting take. I definitely see where you're coming from there, especially because he kind of came in as a tackle. Like you said, he may have regressed because of coaching, a decision to move him inside. Typically, when you move from tackle to guard, though, it's because you're not necessarily athletic enough, or you're not able to get wide or take on those, the wide 9 techniques, or those DNs that are a little more athletic on the outside. So it'd be interesting to see. He's been banged up. Injuries do typically alter your, hip bend movement, stuff like that on the line. So I don't know, man. I think it'd be interesting to do for sure. I like the take. I think it's a unique take, and why not? I mean, just get rid of, before we officially get rid of this guy. I mean, give him one more chance maybe. So yeah, not bad at all. I like it. Very interesting take.
Yeah, I love the take as well. I caught it on a show the other day, and I was like, that's a great take. I mean, I know social media is fed up with Cody Ford.
They're so done with him.
They're
so done never play him again.
But I love the explanation on why he thinks he should have another shot. So great take, Shawn. Appreciate that. Before we move over to the Carolina Panthers, I want to mention some folks in the channel. We have Brennan Lizzie joining us, saying every game is a must-win for sure. We have to go 1-0 the rest of the way out. Every game, 1-0. Let's see. We have Slinky. Haven't seen you, Slinky, in a while. Thanks to the Pats losing. Yes, we got an early Christmas present last night. Man, I was feeling good. I was at a Christmas party. It was 20-0 going into the fourth. I'm like, oh man, it's a great Christmas present. I turn it on. All of a sudden, it's 20-17. I'm like, what the heck's going on? So I put that game on and watched the rest. And of course, Jonathan Taylor just bangs out that, I don't know, it was like a 55, 60-yard run to ice the game. So
how about Carson Wentz's numbers? 5 for 12, 57 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Sounds like sounds like the guy on the other side of the ball a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, seriously.
But they won't talk about it now.
No, not at all.
The Pats lost by that, so they're not going to talk about it.
Yep. And then let's see, I got my dad out there. He says, I'm looking over here because my camera blocks my computer here. I talk about football to myself a lot, and I get really good answers. All right, Dad. That. You can always reach out to me as well. Dad. We talk a lot. So anyhow, so over on the other side of the injury report, Carolina Panthers, and there's some big news here. AJ Poyer is out. Derek Brown, defensive tackle, is out. Both starting on that defensive side. Big time players for them. John Miller is questionable. DJ Moore is questionable. He is expected to play. And of course, Matt Barkley is on the COVID list. So Derek Brown was added to the COVID list, and AJ Poyer. So let me ask you guys about that, because AJ Poyer is a stud over there as cornerback.
He is.
And I'm not sure who we're going to fill that void with. But thoughts on these injuries? I'll throw it over to you first, Shawn.
Yeah, well, as you know, I had Poyer as one of my impact players. But now since he's out, the backups for him, they haven't had that good of a year. So with Gilmore on the other side, it's just another opportunity for Gabe Davis or whoever's on the outside.
He's going to eat up today.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just a great opportunity for the Bills to take advantage of.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I mean, one of my key matchups was the Stefan Gilmore versus Stefan Diggs matchup there. I think that's going to be super intriguing. But yeah, on the other side of the ball now, it's like AJ Bouye, really solid starting corner. I mean, now you got a few guys that are kind of like not really experienced at all. It's going to be very interesting to see. I think Gabe Davis is going to be the hot hand again. Feed that guy. I want to see more out of him. I think he's a legitimate number 2 receiver. He's going to overtake Emmanuel Sanders eventually here. I think it was only a matter of time. I mean, this injury kind of puts Gabe in a position to really like take full advantage of the opportunity. So it's going to be fun to watch.
I thought when Davis got injured in the beginning of the year, that kind of, because everyone's like, why isn't he getting a lot of opportunity? I think that injury just set him back so much.
Yeah. Yes.
That they were just like, oh, we've been clicking right now. We'll just work him back in slowly.
Right.
But he had 7 touchdowns last year, and he was a big red zone threat for us. And then, as we know, our red zone struggles this year. We're not really using Gabe, and then we're not running with Josh. We're just trying to run up the middle with Moss every time. And it's just, I think now that Gabe has an opportunity again, hopefully we can see him being used in that part of the field. You know, he's big. He's got the long arms, good catch radius. So,
yeah, Gabe.
Would love to see it, man.
Gabe makes plays. Absolutely. Let's see here. Slinky says Taylor should win the MVP, and I think we talked about that a little bit last show, or a couple of weeks ago. But he should be in that conversation, right? You guys disagree with that at all, or no?
1000%. Yeah, I mean, MVP is essentially the most valuable player on your team and the reason why you're winning ball games. And really, the Colts don't have an offense without Jonathan Taylor. I like Carson Wentz a lot. I think they have some nice weapons outside of Jonathan Taylor, but he's what makes that offense click. I mean, that offensive line does too. Don't get me wrong. Got to give a lot of credit to those guys up front, but Jonathan Taylor's a fantastic running back. So absolutely my number 1 for MVP right now, even over Tom. Over Tom, terrific. I know he's going to get some bias though.
Yeah, for sure.
My dad texted me last night. He goes, "Aren't you glad the Bills passed over Jonathan Taylor?" Now, I didn't research this enough, but apparently we had a shot at getting him. Is that true? Yeah. What year was he drafted? Was it 2 years ago or 3?
So that was 2020. Yeah.
With Moss, right?
He was 35th overall. We took Zach Moss in the 3rd round. And actually, so I think we took Epinesa in the 2nd round. So we would have had a trade up to get Jonathan Taylor, I believe. But yeah, it would have been nice to have a guy like that. I mean, it's a rare talent, nice gem that they found in there. So, and a steal in the 2nd round. That guy's a 1st-round talent. Obviously, we're seeing his talent right now. So, pretty wild.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, let's get into the weather report here. So, weather today in Buffalo, 29 degrees at kickoff. Some pregame snow flurries supposed to subside by kickoff. Northwest winds 9 to 11 miles per hour, so wind's not too much of an issue today, and mostly cloudy. Now I'm out here and SoCal, and you guys are closer to the action. So talk to me about the weather. I'll start with you, Jake, and I know you're in Utica, right, Shawn? So Jake, you're closest to the game. So what's the weather like right now?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's nice and clear. A little bit of sun peeking through. I can kind of see it through the window out there, and some flurries, not too windy compared to what we've gotten. I mean, the last few days, 2 days ago, I think we had 40-mile-per-hour winds again. So I don't know where this is coming from. And it was like 60 degrees. Now it's back down to 20s, and it's snowing again. So, I think it's actually perfect football weather. I went outside today to get the mail because we weren't home yesterday. So I had to go get the mail, and I walked out there. I'm like, man, this is good football weather. I want to play in this weather right now. Like I want to get a street game going or something, So Utica, how is it out there, Shawn?
It's kind of just meh, just in the 20s, kind of windy, not much sun peeking through yet.
Yeah.
But like you said, the last couple of days, it was like in the 50s.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It started snowing yesterday.
Weird.
And
yeah. They had an image of Lake Erie from like last week when we got a huge storm last Saturday, and the waves were insane. It's the biggest waves anyone's ever seen come out of Lake Erie. It was showing just crashing against the rocks and stuff. And some of the businesses along the lake there, they were getting hit with all these different waves. It was wild to see. And it was like 60 degrees. So it's super weird. Buffalo is an insane, up and down with the weather. It's like one day it's 60 degrees, next day it's a whiteout. So it's wild. Gotta love it though.
Absolutely.
All right, before I move on here, remember to hit that subscribe button on our channel there, and also remember to get over to the Red, White, and Bills channel after the show immediately and hit that subscribe button over there.
Appreciate it.
And let's move on to about the Panthers. So every time there's a team coming into town, or anytime we're playing a team that we haven't seen before, I like to bring up some notes on them, some player notes. They traded 3 draft picks, and I'm actually going to get you guys' take on this. Traded 3 draft picks for Sam Darnold. Now, Sam Darnold started off red hot. People were like, "Whoa, what were the Jets thinking?" And then he got injured, but before that, he started playing pretty poorly. Let me go to you, Jake. What do you think about that trade? Did the Panthers make a big mistake, or is Sam Darnold something that they can still hang their hats on and move forward with?
I don't know. I respect that they went all in on him. I mean, they really wanted him to be the guy, and he showed moments even with New York. He had terrible coaching in New York, and he showed moments that he could be actually a really good quarterback. But I mean, they went all in on him, and it just didn't translate at all. And now I know they just fired their offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, who I think is a mastermind and an absolute genius. I don't know why it just didn't click in the NFL for him. I mean, college game's a little bit different, so there's a lot of differences with that. But yeah, he just really struggled. I mean, he did not look good. He was seeing ghost all season. I don't know if you remember when it was like a year or two ago when he had that line. They caught him on NFL Films mic'd up, and he said, "I'm seeing ghosts out there." Well, yeah, he was seeing ghosts all year. Yeah, it's freaking wild. So yeah, it sucks. Who would have thought that Cam Newton would be the quarterback for the Panthers at this point in the season? I mean, him and PJ Walker, but it's crazy. Like now it's like they're reverting back in time almost. And it's just very strange. I don't know if he's the answer. I don't think he's the answer. Maybe expect them to even look at quarterback in the draft this upcoming year. It's sad because they kind of went all in, like I said. So, he didn't impress me. And maybe it is just coaching. Maybe it was Joe Brady's offense. I don't know. It's just he wasn't picking it up, and a lot of turnovers and cost him a lot of games. So when they had CMC, they were clicking a little bit, and he kind of takes the pressure off, I think, a little bit on Sam Darnold. But when it was just him and he had to make plays and make the right throws, it just didn't seem to work out. So kind of tough.
What do you think, Shawn, on that trade?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. But I also I think that because of how he played in the New York Jets, I was actually looking forward to him to get a new start. Yeah. And I thought he could actually, succeed in Carolina. So I'm going to give him next year because, new team, new system. Yeah. He got injured for majority of the season. He had a few good games, a few bad games. I don't think he's not going to be like a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson to his team, but I think he can be like how Mac Jones is to the Patriots, or maybe a little bit better than that, because he's got the talent, he's got the arm. But I just think give him a year with the team, give him that till the end of next year, and then I could say confidently if it was a bad choice. But I like the choice.
Yeah.
I do like the choice, and like you said, they could get there's a few good quarterbacks in the draft this year, so depending on where they fall, they might want to take that chance, but they also put 3 picks into Darnold, so
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
They might want to give him more time, but yeah, we all know Cam's not the answer for sure. So
yeah. Well, I was calling Sam Darnold Sam Newton in the beginning of the year. I don't know if you remember. He was like leading the league in touchdown and rushing touchdowns, which is insane.
Five in the first few games.
Yeah, who expects this guy to be leading the league and rushing touchdowns? So it was kind of funny to see. But yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with that too. I definitely understand where you're coming from. I mean, you put a lot into it. You got to at least, just extract every bit you can out of it. So yeah, maybe he does have another season, but maybe they do look quarterback in the draft, even bring someone on and just have him back him up.
Yeah, security blanket. Yeah, I was so I got into a fantasy football league last minute, and I did not realize you could start 2 quarterbacks. They didn't explain the rules to me. I'd never been in a fantasy football league that you could start 2 quarterbacks. So I'm scouring the waiver wires, and there's Sam Darnold. So boom, I pick him up. Guy gets off to a great start. I'm like, man, I found fantasy football gold. And then so I'm playing this guy every week. And I was watching some of his games, and like you said, the guy, I didn't realize he can run if he has to. Guy's got, decent wheels. So anyhow, let's go on to Christian McCaffrey. So Christian McCaffrey also hurt me. I was the first pick in his draft fantasy football. Gosh. I'm sure it killed a lot of folks' teams. And I did end up with the best record in the season, but I'm struggling now. All my guys are hurt. I don't expect to win. But McCaffrey out remainder of the season. You already said this, Jake. When he was in there, he takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback. So maybe, that definitely took a lot of pressure off Sam early on. McCaffrey got hurt. And I think that's when Sam kind of started to spiral downward just a little bit right before he got hurt. You lose a guy like McCaffrey. I mean, come on. It's like Jim Kelly losing Thurman Thomas back in the day.
Right.
So any thoughts on that, Shawn?
Yeah, it's just a shame like seeing people like Saquon and McCaffrey just every year just go down, and when they had the opportunity probably to be two of the best backs that we ever saw, in my opinion. And now they're damaged goods, and you never know how much time you're going to get out of them.
Yeah.
And that's why I mentioned the other day, I think that we should try to get Saquon next year on like a 1-year deal because of his injury history, his stock's going to go down, and the Giants aren't going to want to pay him a big contract. So I think that'd be a cool opportunity to bring someone like him in. We revamp our O-line. You run with Singletary, Breida, and Saquon.
That would be.
And then see how it goes, and pay him a few $1 million for the year, and then why not? You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. Well, if that happens, you're gonna have to take that jersey and put a piece of duct tape on the back and put Barkley there, because I don't know if he's giving that number up. I like the 26 on him. Looks good, man. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's just
I would love that.
You feel for these guys because we know how hard it is to get to that level, and we know their talent, and then they have a few good games, and McCaffrey out for the season again. Or Saquon broke his ankle, he's out for 6 weeks again, and you just hate to see it. And
it's like the Bo
Jackson. You see it in their face too. They're just like, again, like
yeah,
it's just sad.
Right. Yeah. And it's just, like you said, it's like these guys with this tremendous physical athletic ability. I mean, that they could be potentially one of the greatest backs of all time, but they just stayed healthy. It's like they're too explosive for their own good or something, It just always seems to some stupid injury, whether it's non-contact, an ACL or something, it's just very unfortunate. It's like I said, it's like the Bo Jackson effect, because that they could be the greatest, and it just, man, it's like it's upsetting as a fan. It's upsetting as a fantasy owner too. I mean, every year you bank on this guy staying healthy, and it just doesn't happen. He gets you a few great games, and you're like, it's like, oh my gosh, he's a fantasy cheat code, and the next thing you know, he's out for the season. So, yeah.
And so we got Blake out there in the channel saying they were much better off with Teddy.
Yeah, so, they were. I hate to say it. So was Robbie Anderson. I thought him and Sam Darnold would connect, because Robbie Anderson was great with Sam Darnold in New York, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And they just signed him to this big extension, 4 years, $48 million. Finally, he actually put up some decent numbers last week, but all season he's been invisible,
Right. And so then they go out, and after the injury to Darnold, they go out and sign Cam Newton. We kind of talked about that already. I mean, like you said, Shawn and Jake, he's not their future. I don't even know how many more years. I mean, he's a serviceable backup. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's going to be a starter. If he is going to be started, it's only because he's filling in for injury. And I think Cam could be a serviceable backup somewhere for sure. He's got some years left in that tank. So any thoughts on the signing of Cam? And I'll start with you, Jake, on this one.
I think Cam belongs in the league, definitely. Yeah, where he belongs, is he a starting quarterback? Is he just a running quarterback, almost like a Blake Bell, how he was in Oklahoma, just run him up the middle, Tim Tebow-esque, something like that. It's super interesting because there's so many comparisons to early on Cam Newton, him and Josh Allen, because they're similar stature, they're running quarterbacks, and I think Cam kind of addressed the media a little bit, and he was just talking about Josh, and he was impressed with him and stuff like that. But it's wild because a lot of people were even saying maybe the Bills should sign Cam Newton as Josh's backup, because they're similar in play style. They like to run the football. They have rocket arms. Accuracy sometimes can be a little suspect. I like I said, I think Cam belongs in the league. It's sad because you want to see him kind of revive his career, go back to the team that he started it all with. And, you go back to the New England days last year, early on in the season, those first 3 or 4 games, Cam looked really good. And it looked like the Patriots were fine. It's like, you're just going to substitute Cam in for Tom Brady. They're going to be totally good. And that Seattle Seahawks game, I don't know if you remember, he threw for 300 something yards, 390 something. And Jules was looking good. I mean, the offense looked really good. And then after that, he got COVID, and his whole season just went downhill from there. And now he's just pretty much a running quarterback. He had the one good game when he came back against Washington, and I thought he played pretty well. He was efficient, whatnot. They still lost the game, but he just turns the ball over too much. I think that shoulder's still bothering him. He doesn't have the same zip on the ball. Decision-making is a little interesting at times too. So, I think absolutely belongs in the league, but probably just as a role player.
What do you think, Shawn?
Yeah, I like that take for sure. I'm actually happy he's back with Carolina. I feel like it just fits.
It feels right.
Yeah. It feels really good that he's back, and he's another guy who came into this league guns blazing, really great quarterback. He could do everything. And then now, he has the energy to play, he has the heart to play.
Yeah.
But like you said, that injury to his shoulder, I think it changes his mechanics and everything. And we saw in New England, he finished the year with 9 touchdown passes or something.
Yeah.
Something like that in 16 games. So
right.
That's not what you need in a quarterback. But I give him credit for sitting out for a year and then going back to a team and then having to fight every time to get back on a team and to play. Even though he's not the same skill level, he's got the heart that some team might want. And who knows, maybe another offseason, working on that shoulder, he might be a little bit better than he has been. But I definitely don't think he's the answer in Carolina. But I agree that he could be a serviceable backup, if not for Carolina, but for another team.
For sure.
So we got Mama
maybe
Padre.
The Ravens,
We got Mama Padre.
What's that?
We got Mama Padre jumping out there in the channel saying Dad is probably chomping at the bit to chat, but he's watching from his phone at Grandma's and probably can't bring up the chat. Does Grandma have like a smart TV she can bring up?
She doesn't have any Wi-Fi or anything like that, so he's just using straight data. Yeah, tough.
well, Big Al, we miss you today, and so we always love how he interacts, and thank you, Mama Padre, for joining the channel today. Always good to see you.
I want to give I got to give a shout out to to my wife's Uncle Donnie. He apparently is he's a diehard. He's a fan of the show. He's faithful. He doesn't really show up in the comments much. Maybe he's a little scared to put in his takes or something. Uncle Donnie, if you're out there watching, feel free. Send a few questions. We love you. I heard Nicole, Riley, my wife's cousin, also watches a little bit too. Nicole, shout out to you. Love you guys. You're incredible. So, yeah, we're just picking up a nice little fan base here, Mike.
Yeah, don't be silent. We want to see you chatting it up with us. And if you're out there and if you are a little shy, just at least put the prediction of the Bills game today, because the closest one to the score will actually get a $50 gift card today. So please put those predictions. I want to see those predictions start coming into the channel. Haven't seen anyone. It seems like everyone's being a little shy. I know there's some folks watching this channel right now. So get those predictions out there. All right, a little more about their offense. So they're 27th in total yards per game with 310 per game, 19th in rushing yards per game, 26th overall in passing yards per game at 200, and they're 24th in points per game at 19.8. So pretty much near the bottom when we're talking offense. But where they make up for that is on the defensive side of things. They're 8th in points per game, only giving up 21.7. They're 21st in takeaways with 15, which is a little surprising with a defense like this. They're 2nd in yards per game with 293. They're 1st in passing yards per game. What is our team built around? The passing game. So that's interesting. Mm-hmm. 1st in passing yards per game, giving up only 177 per game. They're 19th in rushing yards per game, giving up 115. And they're 12th in sacks on the year, 32nd. Interesting point. Let me see if I can say that right. Interesting point is that I looked, and where do you think the Bills are as far as sacks on the year?
Oh my gosh, 29th maybe.
It's near the bottom. Unbelievable. We spent a lot of draft choices on being able to get those sack totals up, and I'll throw that out first. Let me ask you, Shawn. So we've struggled with this, right? The last 2 seasons, we spent 1 and 2 draft picks, first, and second round this year, Boogie and Russo. Last year, Epinesa. What is happening? Why are we not getting to the quarterback?
Well, before I get into that, one thing I will say is I think the way Epinesa was handled and the way Boogie's being handled right now isn't helping them progress in the league. Epinesa was basically a healthy scratch every game last year. Boogie's always inactive, even though he comes out and does well when he plays. Nothing is better than game reps. Practice can only do so much for you. And last year, Epinesa barely played. This year, Boogie's barely playing. So you're wasting your draft capital not giving him reps, because he's played a few games and he's done well. So I don't know why he's not active. But I think a reason why we're not always making it home is because of that rotation. Some players hardly play over 35-40% of the snaps, and those snaps that they're playing, not all of them are pass rush snaps, and a lot of teams like to run on us too. So, or they get the ball quick. We played a lot of quarterbacks who get the ball out quick. You know what I mean? Like Tua, Mac Jones, but he didn't throw the ball much. And that game holds us back too. You only threw the ball 3 times. But I think I agree with the frustration of not getting a lot of sacks, but a lot of what defensive line does, though, is because of the constant pressure, we were the number one team in pressure rate. So it makes our secondary be able to make plays because we're getting a lot of chaos out on the quarterback. So the sacks aren't where we want it to be, but they're still doing a really good job at getting pressure. And then you look at Greg Rousseau, he's top of the league, I think, in rookies for run stops. And, and that's a big thing too. He's really good at keeping contained. So I like what they're doing. I just think the rotation of the defensive line kind of holds us back from getting big sack numbers. Like we're never going to have a guy with this rotation getting 10 plus sacks in a season because it's just how it is. Ed Oliver gets 30% of snaps, 35. Rousseau gets 21 game and then 40 the next game. It's just hard at that point. But I do agree with the frustration though. But I think if we just hold on a little bit, we'll see what they, if we keep Addison and Hughes next year, or if Boogie gets more time next year, I think we're more youthful. Even though I like what Addison's been doing, I know he's not having a huge sack year, but you could tell when he's going out there, he's giving all he's got.
Yeah.
And then Hughes is just a pressure animal. He just can't get home. But I mean, we're so close though. We're always right there. They throw it a little bit too soon.
I don't know. Story of the Buffalo Bills. We're just so close.
Yeah.
Every time. Yeah, no, that's actually a really good take, man. And the healthy scratch thing, a lot of people say maybe it's because they're not picking up the defense. I don't buy that. Like, defense is not that complicated. Just go and hit the guy. Find the ball, hit the player. I mean, obviously you got to stay home in certain spots, play contain, whatever you have to do. I don't buy that, though. I think you got to get these guys in more of a rotation and get more snaps for each defensive lineman that's playing well, because it's almost like, it's good because you're fresh. You have fresh guys out there, but you almost want the guys who are playing well to stay in there. And it's like conditioning too at that point too. I mean, maybe, when the game's on the line, you have a guy that's playing really well. You want to keep him in there because obviously he's an impact player. Eddie Oliver, example right there. You want to keep that guy in the game. Well, if you're not having this guy play, a certain, 50, 60 snaps a game, he's only playing 30 snaps. Maybe his conditioning's taking a hit. Maybe he won't be ready for those moments. I mean, how do you let a guy actually prove himself if you don't leave him in there? Like, the rotation's nice, but it has its downfalls for sure. And the whole just sitting Boogie and sitting Epinesa, I think it's actually hurting them more than helping them. Yeah. So, it's unfortunate.
Because think about it, you get these players on rookie deals, and then you're wasting that time.
Yeah,
you got to sit them, and then
right.
All of a sudden it's year 3, and you're like, oh, I got to pay this guy now. What do? I sat him for a year and a half.
Yeah,
but I like Epinesa. He gets off the ball really fast. I think last time I checked, it was like one of the fastest off times in the league of getting, as soon as the ball snapped, he's boom right there. But he took a huge loss in weight.
Yeah.
And when you're playing defensive end at 250 and you're super, super fast, sometimes you need that little bit of a weight on you, because not everybody's 6'7" like Rousseau, and who can just extend you and then just move you. But
yeah,
I like the young players that we got, and I think just give them more opportunity, they'll be fine. And Harrison Phillips even came alive in the last couple of weeks, and
he's looked good, man. Yeah,
he's more of he's not much of a pass rushing D tackle because of his speed, but he's really good in run stopping. And he had a career game a couple weeks ago, and he almost matched that last week. So
yeah,
if he can, after the ACL, he didn't look the same after that, but he's starting to bounce back. So if we can get him going, that's a good piece to have next year.
And I feel like I actually feel better with Harrison Phillips in right now than I do with Starr. Starr is just not himself. You could tell. I know he's got like a turf toe injury right now. I don't know if he's actually going to play or not. I think he was still listed as questionable, right, Mike?
Yeah, questionable.
Yeah. And actually, it's interesting, too, because you have a lot of former Panthers and former Bills playing in this game. So on both sides, you have Mario Addison, Star Lotulelei, other side, obviously, Stefan Gilmore. So it's kind of fun to see. Now you have some little bit of added revenge in these players' minds. So it'll be interesting to see how they channel that.
Yeah, I love your take on Boogie. Jake and I say this every week. Every time we've seen him, he's made plays. So why do they keep deactivating this guy? Rousseau, I agree fully. I mean, I love that he plays the run just as well as the pass rush. And I want more reps out of him. And I think this is a question for you, Shawn, because I know Jake and I, we go back and forth. Actually, we don't go back and forth. Jerry Hughes. I would love your take on Jerry.
Yeah.
Jake was a supporter early on. I tell Jake the only time I ever see Jerry Hughes is when he's chasing a guy down the field after he's gotten past the line of scrimmage. The only time I see him on TV. So what's your thoughts on Jerry Hughes? To me, I love Jerry Hughes. He's been a long time Bill. Don't get me wrong. But I think now it's time, like, if he's still getting 50% of the snaps, now let's get him to 40, 30, and let's get more of Rousseau. So what's your thoughts on that, Shawn?
Yeah. Both those things are true. And why we see him always chasing after is because he blows contain too much. Like, that's where Rousseau, you could see it shine on the TV is, we're not used to seeing that because Jerry Hughes blows to contain.
Yeah.
But like I said, he is a pressure animal and he always has been. So yeah, he's got like 1 sack this year, but he's always putting that constant pressure on, and he's just with the contain, it just holds him back too. So I like him a lot, but definitely you got to reduce snap count for him and raise it for someone like Rousseau, who's young and can do it now.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are young and athletic and strong and fast. They don't want to be sitting on the bench all the time. I know when I played football, I wasn't obviously in the NFL or anything, but I don't want to take one snap off. I played offense, defense, special teams, and I was just like, let's just keep doing it. These guys can do it. They just, and at the same time, it can make them kind of cold too.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's definitely true.
I do like the rotation because it makes you so you're never tired. But then Rousseau's making a couple stops, you take him off, then all of a sudden it's like third down. It's like, let me go back out there, and then I haven't been moving my legs, and so like you said, it's good and bad. But Hughes, I agree with you, Mike. Less snap count, get more Rousseau, get more Epinesa, and I still don't understand. Like, I love Starr, and he's been a huge piece this year for us. Ever since the COVID and the injuries, he's taken it, and he's older too. What is he, 31, 32?
Yeah.
So we need to start finding people who can play instead of Starr, because he might not be in the league much longer. He might be retiring soon. D tackles, they take a beating. So definitely got to see more out of Phillips, less reps out of Hughes. Not that he's a terrible, but
pass rushing only.
Get more youth in there for more reps.
Yeah.
So we got some breaking news out there in the channel. Mama Poyer saying John Feliciano is out of game due to COVID. COVID biting us again. So that's interesting.
Wow.
We got Blake out there saying the Bills lead the league in hurries against quarterbacks. It's such a relative statistic. And I, as a fan, I'm not the X&O guys like you guys are. But when I'm watching these games, I don't know who's counting these pressures. I just don't feel it, for me at least. I want to see more of those sacks. So does everyone. But that's always been kind of an interesting statistic. Pressures, right? It really is. Who's the scorekeeper? Maybe we have somebody who scores these in Buffalo that's different than the way they scored in another city. So I don't know. That's an interesting thing.
I think PFF does them.
PFF? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's interesting that Feliciano he must not be vaccinated then, because they said non-vaccinated players will get tested daily. Vaccinated will be only tested weekly. So now he's gone for 2 games. Because it's a 10-day thing when you're non-vaccinated. So he'll be out for this week and the Patriots week. So we might actually see they're going to put Ford at guard. I already know it.
Yeah.
They're not going to think to put him at tackle. They're going to put him back at guard. Williams is going to be terrible at tackle, and it's just going to be
Man, I'm a Ryan Bates guy. I think you got to get him more involved. He could play anywhere on the line.
Yeah,
I like your take on Cody Ford. Give him one more shot at tackle, but I don't like him at guard at all. I don't
agree.
like it. But you know what they're going to do exactly. I mean, it's frustrating.
Well, now they definitely can't play Bates because he's the only backup center now that Feliciano's out.
That's true. Yeah.
So he's not going to play either.
Yeah.
So that's what sucks, because now that takes Bates away.
Yeah.
And then they're not going to think to put Ford back at where his position is.
Right.
So it's just, unless they want to put Bobby Hart at right tackle.
I don't know about that, man.
Oh yeah, he was a social media darling too earlier in the year.
Yeah.
I mean, they keep bringing him back, so
yeah,
they see something in him, right?
Yeah,
right.
Now, who knows? What if he starts today and he turns out to be the best right tackle in the league? Who knows?
So Mama Poyer saying Starr is going to play, and I want to let you know I've been a big Starr supporter since the beginning of the season, and you saw his impact early on, and then he got deemed up. But he watches this channel. I'm just going to let you know he watches this channel. He's going to be a little upset with some of the takes we're hearing today on Starr. So you might get some tweets coming your way, both of you guys.
All right.
Starr, I love
ready
you.
for it.
All right, let's get into our key matchups for this week, and we'll start with you, Jake. On Jake's key matchups, we got Stefan Diggs versus Stefan Gilmore, a guy we're very familiar with, and then you got DJ Moore versus Levi Wallace on the other side. So start with Stefan Diggs versus Gilmore.
Yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, it's kind of like a revenge game for some of these guys. So Stefan Gilmore didn't leave on the best terms in Buffalo, went to New England, absolutely dominated, all-pro corner, then gets traded from New England. Been a little quiet with Carolina, but definitely helps improve that defense. I think he's still got it, obviously. The guy's still an unreal corner. So it's going to be fun to watch a top 5 receiver go against a top 5 corner. I don't know if you put him top 5 still. Like I said, he's still very good. I think he's dropped off just a touch, but he's still right up there. So going to be a fun matchup to watch. Stefan Diggs is very physical. Stefan Gilmore, not very physical. That was one thing, one knack pretty much with him, is that he just wasn't a very good tackler. Didn't like to get, in between. He didn't like to get dirty and stuff like that. So I think Stefan Diggs is going to win the matchup, but it's going to be fun to watch because you just love to see 2 primetime guys like that go at it. So I think Stefan wins that battle. Stefan Diggs wins that battle.
And so remind me, why did we let Gilmore go? What happened there?
It was a contract thing, I think, more than anything. And we had a couple young guys at the time. Who do we have? We actually traded them. I'm drawing a blank. We traded him to the Eagles. Ronald Darby we had. Remember Ronald Darby?
I remember Darby.
We had a couple other guys, too, on the team. So we're like, oh, well, we could just play these young guys instead. And we traded Stefan. And, of course, he goes on to be an all-pro with New England. They gave him a massive contract there. And last year he was playing on a 1-year deal for like a ton of money. And I think Bill just I think he wanted to trade him pretty much, get him in a better spot for himself. I don't know why it just didn't work out. But, he seems to be a bit of a headache. I don't know. So I have not really inside information, but I talked to that. So Mike, I mentioned that Jake Dolegala kid who I know, I went to high school with him. He's bounced around the NFL a little bit. He was talking to me a little bit, and he was on New England's practice squad last year. And I said, hey, who's the best player on that team? Who's by far, like, what would you say? Who's the best player on that team? And he said, Stefan Gilmore. The guy is just incredible. Any pass you throw, because he played scout team. So he knew, he had to go up against this guy every day in practice. So it was really interesting to hear his take on it. He said, the guy's so smart. His instincts are so good. But yeah, I think the biggest thing with him has always just been his lack of physicality that's kind of screwed him. So, but he makes up for it. He's made some big plays. The one play in the Super Bowl where he had like that diving swat, he had that. So he's got a couple key moments. But what was the question? Why do we get rid of him in the first place?
Yeah, it was why to get rid of him. I mean,
I think it was just a dispute. He wanted some more money. He wanted to get paid. Yeah, and we weren't willing to do it.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that matchup there, Shawn?
Yeah, well, as we know, Diggs is an alpha dog, and he loves these matchups more than
it's going to be chippy, I think.
Yeah, he likes these matchups more than going against a not so good corner and he gets 10 catches for 100 yards. He likes these ones where he's going against an elite corner, like him and Lattimore when he played for the Vikings. Yeah, that was just like they were always tripping him back and forth. So I was super excited to see them play against each other. And you kind of saw it when Diggs scored that touchdown where he burned him and he looked down at him a little bit. That's just who Diggs is. He loves these matchups. That's what he lives for. That's why he's here. That's what we paid him for. And he's going to rise to the occasion because he always does. And it's when he has quiet nights, it's not because he gets shut down. It's because we don't get him involved enough. And it's not really Allen's fault. It's more play design because when you look at people like Devontae Adams, there's no other good receiver on that team. Yet he still gets the ball 10 to 12 times a game because that's where they're designing plays for. Cooper Kupp.
Scheme around it. Yeah.
Everybody knows they're going to throw to Cooper Kupp. He still gets 10, 12, 13, 15 receptions a game or targets a game. Sometimes Diggs gets 6 targets. And it's not so much, it's not Allen's fault because Allen would throw to him every time if he could.
Yeah.
But this is the type of game where I would be confident to throw Diggs away at least 10 times. Doesn't matter if it's Gilmore because I know the kind of guy Diggs is. So I'm looking forward to that matchup. But I also think Stefan Diggs will win this matchup. And I just can't wait to see it. It's gonna be fun for sure. Definitely
absolutely.
Intense.
Yeah.
Intense for sure.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like this year more than previous years, like weather is a thing in Buffalo, but weather typically starts hitting late November, December. I feel like a lot of our home games this year, we've had rain, we've had wind, and that's really hurt us on the offensive side as far as our passing game goes. So again, to Sean's point, it's the game design. It's also what the weather's allowing us to do. I mean, my goodness, that game in against New England a few weeks ago, Josh did a fantastic job throwing against the wind. No one else could have done that. But still, I just feel like weather's been more of a factor this year around our passing game. Before we move on here, I just want to say Blake. So Blake's out there, and I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's name.
Kelechi Osemele.
Talk about that. Talk about his question there.
He's stud guard. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he retired or if he's just still a free agent, but I mean, he's an all-pro guard that was playing with the Raiders. He played with the Chiefs a little bit, the Jets last year, I think. That would be interesting. I would not mind that one bit. I don't really know of anyone else who's out there, unfortunately, right now at this point, but that would be intriguing for sure. He's a big body guy too. I mean, just a mammoth. I mean, it's classic Raiders draft pick, at guard, just a big body guy. And he actually turned out to be a really good guard too. But I don't know what the deal is with him. I don't know if he's actually retired or if he's still a free agent.
I'm still mad about Quentin Spain being released.
I know. He was
day.
Salty. Do you remember that?
Every day.
He tweeted. Yeah. I didn't understand that either.
They benched him when we were playing the Titans, and that was the team he played for.
His team.
So we got mad about it, which I would have been really pissed off too. And they're like, "Oh, he doesn't fit the culture now. Bye."
Terrible. And now he's with Cincinnati, killing it. Yeah.
He hasn't let up a sack in like 2, maybe 3 years now.
Right.
Yep.
And then back to what I was saying about when Cody Ford was at tackle, I think the most consistent line we had was in 2019 with Dawkins, Spain, Morris, Feliciano, and Ford. Yeah, we didn't have like an electric offense yet because Josh didn't come to life yet, but that was our most consistent line. And then, last year they were good at pass blocking, but they couldn't run block. 19, they could do a little bit of both.
Yep.
Because Motor had 800 yards rushing and missing 4 games.
He looked like the guy. Yeah, I mean, he really looked like the guy. You thought that this was going to be our next 1,000-yard back.
And then Frank Gore had 600 yards too, and Josh had 500 yards. They could run the ball with that team. And then you get rid of Spain because you can't swallow pride, and then now you're looking for a guard for the last 2 years.
You're starting to see maybe coaching is more and more of an issue, and I love Sean McDermott, I really do, but even going back to the weather, Mike, it's like the coach. I don't think we play bad in the weather. I think the coaches are holding us back. Like they see a little bit of wind. We're not going to throw the football. Are you kidding me? Josh Allen was throwing the ball in 45-mile-per-hour gusts. He looked like Brett Favre out there just slinging it. He looked great.
Yeah.
But we're afraid of ourselves. I don't know. We're like afraid to be elite or something. It's super weird. I don't understand it.
Oh, God.
I hope those coaches are listening to the show right now. Maybe a little pregame before.
Well, we had Dable on a couple weeks ago.
We did.
We had Dable come in. Well, we had a guy come in with the name Brian Label. And we thought it was Brian, Dable just trying to come in and get some, good information.
Could be a burner.
Yeah.
All right. Take on the other side, you got DJ Moore versus Levi Wallace.
Yeah, that's going to be intriguing to watch. I don't know if he'll be going up against Levi Wallace, Dane Jackson, whoever it may be. DJ Moore, he's battling a hamstring injury, so it'll be interesting to see how often they use him, how often he's actually in the game, because hamstrings are tough as a receiver, especially. I mean, you come up lame on a hamstring injury it's so easy to do. You just run a route, even going out for like a decoy play where you're just blocking or something, you can screw with it. So it's going to be intriguing to watch. I kind of put this on here with the notion that he'd play. I think he's gonna play. I thought maybe he would be a little more healthy at the time, but I don't know what his snap count's going to be. But DJ Moore's really come along. He kind of started off he started off pretty good. Then he dropped off a little bit, and now he's sort of back. So he's been putting up some solid numbers. He's had a really nice year. I think 938 yards on the season. So he's shown that he's a really good receiver. So good test for Levi or Dane Jackson, whoever's covering him.
Your thoughts, Sean? Your thoughts on that, Sean?
Yeah, I had DJ Moore in my pregame show as one of my players that we have to minimize their impact of the game for us to win. And I've been a huge Levi advocate since a couple years ago, but in 2019, he was still learning. In that game against the Browns, I was like really mad because he blew those 2 touchdowns and we lost by 2 points. I was really mad at him that game. But after a couple weeks, I went back onto the Levi train, and he's really good. Like, he puts himself in position to make plays. He's aggressive. Yeah, he plays kind of deep off the receiver in zone sometimes, but that's what his zone coverage is.
He trusts himself too.
Yeah, so I really like what we got in him. And when people last year were saying, "Oh, we need to draft a corner or put Dane Jackson out there," I'm like, I don't know. I leave Levi there, and now Levi's playing for Skittles right now, and he's still performing well. He's someone I do think we need to draft another corner just to have, because in an event like when we lost Trey White,
depth.
You need somebody, but people are saying we're going to get corner in the first round, but that's not our need right now. We don't need a corner in the first round. That's for sure. Man. But I really like Levi Wallace. I think he's became a great player, and he's always had been that underdog, undrafted free agent, starting on the team. Oh, they're going to bench him for Josh Norman. Oh, he started. Oh, they're going to bench him for Dane Jackson. Now he's starting. And granted, Dane Jackson and Josh Norman aren't elite corners right now, but anytime there's a competition, Levi rises to the occasion and he does well.
Yeah.
And if he makes a bad play, he'll bounce back and make a great play. Mm-hmm. So I like Levi against anybody, and he's going to get a chance to showcase in the last few weeks in the playoffs who he is without Trey. And then Dane Jackson's going to have that same thing back at him, because they might not want to throw Levi's way. They might want to pick on Dane Jackson. But as we saw in the Bucs game, even though they threw 380 yards, they both did pretty well against people like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Gronkowski, who are huge, giant receivers who can moss anybody.
Right. Yeah.
Make crazy plays. So,
and that was not pass interference against Levi Wallace, by the way. That was just a hell of a play. You got to waive that. I mean, it's just insane. I'm still irked by that. It's terrible.
I was happy though. He wasn't scared to say it was a bad call in the interview.
Yeah.
He said it was a bad play. It was a bad call, because it was. I mean,
it was. He says it as it is.
He had his hands up for a reason, because he would get called for interference if he didn't. He attempted to turn his head, and he got pulled into him. And it's funny, on Twitter, Patriots fans were complaining yesterday night and today about not getting calls. But then the week before, whenever we mentioned those two calls that screwed us out of the game, the no DPI on Diggs and the DPI on Wallace, they said, "Oh, Bills fans just complain about calls. You guys just lost. Take the L and move on." So I was on Twitter for the last 12 hours making fun of everybody, saying, "Well, last week you were making fun of us about calls. Now you have whole threads about not getting holding calls against you when you were down 20-0."
Yep.
But
call a spade a spade.
Yeah, officials have too much impact in the game, especially that point, because I don't want to get too much into this game because it's over with and we got Panthers today. But I mean, that was just a great play by Wallace, and it just shows the kind of guy he is. To always, against anybody, Mike Evans, one of the best receivers in the league, he went toe-to-toe with him, made a great look on the ball, didn't go his way, but I'm looking for him to make a big, because that's one of those bad plays. It wasn't his fault, but he got nicked for that bad play. He'll come back this week and get a pick. He'll do something good.
I like that, man. So I've been very critical of Levi Wallace. I mean, every week I feel like we always have to mention him or talk about him or justify him or something. Like you said, he just keeps rising to the occasion. And I've been hard on him too. I really have been. But first off, when Trey White was in, of course they're going to target Levi Wallace, because Trey White is on a different level than Levi, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
But he's held his own. He really has. He's got a chip on his shoulder. I feel better with him as our starting corner right now. I mean, he's the best corner left on the team at the moment, besides Taron Johnson. I mean, he's a nickel corner, though, so different position.
Yeah, it's different.
But, yeah, it is interesting. I mean, he does have a great story. He's a walk-on at Alabama. Goes to Bama, flourishes there, does really well, undrafted free agent, makes the team with the Bills. They try to play everyone possible over this guy. They try to stir up different stories, narratives, rumors. This guy should play over him. Every week he's getting criticized, and here he is still, starting corner for the Bills. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a fun one to watch.
Absolutely. And one last thing I'll say about that is I think corner is one of the toughest positions to play in the NFL level.
Yeah.
And think about it. When Trey was playing, he was getting like 15 18 balls thrown at him, and they might get 4 or 5 catches. That's still good. That's still really good.
Yeah. 33%. Yeah.
A quarterback can't throw 0% passing, every game. He's going to make completions. So that some people look at, Wallace gave up 6 catches for 50 yards. That's terrible. But everyone's giving up passes. That's not how a corner works. It's a super hard position to play. It's a lot of watching hips and torque and backpedaling and guessing, because that's the thing. The receiver is in control every time. The corner has to guess which route he's going to pick, and he has to either jump it or roll with it. And that's why you see corners get burned a lot, because it's hard to tell what that receiver is going to do. Is he going to pull off the double move right here? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? So corners have a very difficult job. So, if Levi gives up a few catches, if Deon gives up a few catches, it's going to happen regardless of Trey White gives up catches, and he's elite. Ramsey gives up catches. He's elite. So that's the thing about corners. As elite as you are, you can still get burned.
Right.
But
especially in this league. It's a offensive favored league. It's a passing league. So it's nearly impossible to play perfectly as a corner right now. Yeah. So absolutely.
Yeah. One last note. You guys brought it up. The DPIs, defensive pass interference calls. I'm an advocate to bring back the ability to challenge and then go to New York with an unbiased crew and have them make the call. You should be allowed to do that. It's crazy to me. I know they had it for 1 year and then they got rid of it. And I think they need to bring it back.
Did you guys ever watch any of the XFL 2 years ago when they had how they ran their officiating crew? No. So they had a sky judge up in the box, and he literally was using an Xbox controller to reverse, rewind, and they were fully transparent on how they processed the call, how they went through it, how they talked through the logic and everything. And they got every call right, and they made sure they got the calls right. Maybe it slows down the game a touch, but in a big moment like that, you got to talk about it because just to throw a flag, knee-jerk reaction like that, and then you go back and you see full proof that this is clearly not the defensive pass interference by the book. He was looking back. He made the play. I mean, it should have been waved off. I'm getting fired up about it again, but they should do what the XFL does right now with officiating.
Yeah, totally agree.
Even baseball did it last year. I'm a Nationals fan. I was stationed in Virginia, and
nice.
I started. Washington was a team in 2005, and I went to a game in DC, and I was like, well, they're really bad. They got great uniforms. The stadium's awesome. Everyone from New York likes the Yankees, and I was just like, no. Yeah. And so then I started liking Washington in 05 or 06 actually, and I actually got stationed 20 minutes from DC, so I got to watch a lot of Nationals games, and I bought MLB TV last year, so I watched every game. And if somebody stole a base and you thought they were out and they got called safe, the coach goes like this. They look at I was wrong, bring him back, or he's out or whatever. And like you said, Mike, that works because there was a lot of calls that they missed that they got reversed because of reviewing it again. And I know they're humans. I know the referees are just like me and you, but we have accountability in our jobs. If Mike does something wrong at his job, that's a fireable offense. So it's like, hey, Mike, see you later. But if a referee makes a mistake, they just go home and that's it. So
back next week, baby.
I sound rude for judging a person for not being perfect all the time. But if I'm accountable for anything, the players are accountable. The coaching staff is accountable for mistakes. Yeah. The coaching staff can get fired for something. Dayball could get fired this week for getting shut out if he does. Just to say, knock on wood. But a referee or an official, they mess up and that's it. They go to the next week and say, "Oh, we'll get it next time." They don't answer. They don't get fined, but they find players for untucked shirts. They find people for in a physical game for taunting.
Yeah.
They find Lyle Collins for protecting his quarterback, and they suspend him. But then Kyle Duggar and Van Noy jump Pittman, rip his face mask off, and jump him, and they're not going to get suspended. They're not going to get fined probably, but Pittman gets ejected too. It's just
spot on, man.
Somebody
couldn't have said that any better. Yeah.
So good stuff.
And they need more support. They need more support too. I think they can be helped, but accountability. I mean, shoot, they can alter a game. They can change the outcome of a game. I mean, these are the first people you should be addressing.
So first, make them full-time. Give them full-time jobs, first of all, and then let's bring back some of these, the ability to challenge some of these, especially defensive pass interference calls.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
I know. I love you guys. You can talk forever on just Jake's key matchups. This is fantastic. I love it. But let's get on to Shawn's key matchups here. So on Shawn's side of the ball, I love this take. McDermott versus McDermott, and he's got the left tackle, whoever's going to play left tackle, and we talked about that at the top of the show, versus Reddick. So talk to me, Shawn, about that. McDermott versus McDermott.
Well, part of what made us great last year was whether it was McDermott didn't trust the defense or he just really trusted Josh and the offense, he was more aggressive, and he was aggressive at the right times. Whereas this year, he seems aggressive, but it's always at the wrong time, and he's not aggressive when he should be. For example, when we were down 10-0 to the Bucs and we're fourth and goal from the 4 and he kicks a field goal.
Yeah.
It's 10-3. And then they go score a touchdown, 17-3. If you scored a touchdown there, that could have changed the game. And yeah, a field goal's 3 points and he got bailed out by us. But 17-0 is not much different than 17-3 if you really think about it. Right. And that's a situation, especially when in our position we're 7-5 and you lost a couple games close like that, you should have went for it. Whereas last year he always was like, "Oh, 4th and 7 at our 40,
go."
Yeah, go for it. Oh, 4th and 1, we're gonna go for that too. 4th and 3, we're gonna go for that. 4th and 15, we'll go for that too. And it seems like now, because he's like so concerned with always being, it might work in our favor next time. Like the Patriots game when he tried to kick the field goal with Bass in the last few minutes or 7 minutes left.
Yeah.
After the Patriots just had a 9-minute drive. We might not have got the ball back. We got lucky we got the ball back, but I would have went for the touchdown considering Bass said in the beginning of the game, I'm hardly comfortable kicking from extra point distance.
Yeah.
And then the wind's in his face. McDermott's like, let's kick it. Of course, if he made it, that last drive, we would have went to kick a field goal to win the game. However, you can't really see that. As a coach, I would have saw, well, they just had a 9-minute drive. They're running the ball pretty well, and we might not get the ball back. You know what I mean? Because there was 6-something minutes left on the clock after that field goal attempt. They could have ran then they passed once or twice in that next drive, and we got a 3-and-out, luckily. But you never really know. And it seems like he's having an internal battle with himself. He feels that we're not where we need to be. Maybe I need to stop with being aggressive at these times and do this and do that. And it's just, I love McDermott, like you guys said. You love him too. I'm glad we have him as our coach. I hope we have him for 15 more years, 20 more years. It's just he's regressed in his play choices and his aggressiveness, and it's hurt us in a few games. It really has. And I think we have 3 losses with where we had the ball in the last drive to win the game, and we ended up losing.
Yeah.
The Bucs game you can count the Bucs game in that too. And it's not really on the players. Some of it's on the coaching, time management. There was one time it was 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. We lined up and he tried to jump him off sides. And then it got down to 1 second. He called a timeout and then punted it anyway.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just take a 5-yard penalty and punt it regardless? You just wasted a timeout.
Right.
And then he did the same thing in last week or the week before. He wanted to call a timeout because they were gassed or something. It was 20 seconds left on the play clock. He waited till it got down to 2 seconds. He called a timeout. If you're going to call a timeout anyway, just call it with 20 seconds left on the play clock.
Yep.
He's just making so many questionable calls. And I'm not a professional coach. I love Sean McDermott, but he's just hesitant. It seems like he's really, really stepped back in his play calling and his aggressiveness, and which made us really good last year, which made us love McDermott even more last year because that's what we were waiting for. And then now he does weird things like a fake punt on 4th and 2 when you have a $300 million quarterback. You have Stefan Diggs, you have Gabe Davis, you have Dawson Knox, you have Cole Beasley, you have Matt Breida, you have all these people which make your offense elite, and you put out your punt team when you can't block, and then you run a direct snap with Breida when you didn't change anything, you didn't disguise it at all. And it's just McDermott's got to just get back to his old self because we've lost a few games because of it. And beginning of the year, I said, if we don't make it to the Super Bowl, if we don't win the Super Bowl, it's based off of offensive line play and coaching. And 7-6 right now, it's because of what? Offensive line and coaching.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So it's just, I love McDermott, and I hope he can beat this battle within and get back to what he was last year because we had that great season because of him partly last year.
Right. Yeah, man. No, that's well said.
Yeah, Jake and I have been saying that as well. It's like, a couple of those questionable calls, those 4th down calls, they put in Breida, and then they have another opportunity later on, and they punt, and it's like, have some confidence in your team. So totally agree with that take. Jake, you have anything else to say on that one?
It's got to do something to your players too. This is a guy who's a player's coach, and it's like, how do you instill confidence in your offense even? Like, that's why we burn out so fast too. I don't know, just last year it was like, we're going for it, and you just knew, even like on a 3rd and long, and you saw that actually in the second half of this Bucs game. If we play like that the rest of the year, we're not losing another game. I could tell you that. But it's like it does something to your chemistry as a team, and I think it does something to your confidence. The offense just doesn't click when we make stupid decisions like that, and it affects the whole team. It goes down the line. So yeah, definitely, it's an interior battle. He's got to figure it out.
It can work. It can work both ways.
I think he will.
It can work both ways because we saw it with the Chargers and the Chiefs game, right? I feel like this year, I've been saying to a lot of my friends is, man, you're seeing a lot more of Madden football going on this year. They're going for it fourth down at their own 30-yard line, their own 40-yard line, seeing a lot of that. And you saw what happened on Thursday night, and that coach is taking a lot of heat on the Chargers out here for going for it 4 or 5 times. And if he had just kicked a field goal in 1 or 2 of those opportunities, game would have been completely different, possibly.
Right.
So I don't know.
But you got to be okay with that, though, too.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think as a fan, you can appreciate that because there's no hesitancy. They go for it. They're not waiting till the clock's down to 2 seconds and then they punt the ball anyway. Like Sean's saying. I mean, there's a big difference there. You make the call. Brandon Staley, there wasn't a doubt in his mind that he's going for it on 4th down. Didn't even bother looking at the kicker. I feel so bad for what's his name? For Michael, or no, it wasn't Michael Badgley. My gosh, Dustin Hopkins. I feel bad for that guy. I mean, he's like, looking, maybe I can get a field goal here. No, screw you, man. Yeah.
But you also got to like read the room kind of too. Like when we were down 2 scores and it was like 4th and 3 from the 50, McDermott, I want to trust my defense now.
Yeah.
And they get a field, they stop it and hold it to a field goal.
Right.
But now you're down 3 scores again.
Mm-hmm.
So at that situation, you have to, especially against the Bucs and the Chiefs, you have to score touchdowns.
Right.
So
field goals.
I agree that Staley did that. And how often is it that a team can't get 4th and 1 more than once out of 5 times or 4 times that he did it? Like,
yeah.
So I agree with it, but then, they lost. They could have got a couple field goals and would have won, but he knew what had to be done. He knew that, Patrick Mahomes can get a touchdown anytime.
Yeah.
And we got to match whatever they do. And that's why I was critical of McDermott against the Bucs because 10-0, because then the Green Bay Packers did it the next 2 hours later. They were down 10-0. They were 4th and goal from the 3. Aaron Rodgers said, let's stay out here. They threw a touchdown. Then they ended up winning 45-30.
Yep.
And they were down for a good amount of the game. But if they went for the field goal there, who knows? And
scoring touchdowns does so much for a team. Field goals are nice. They get you points. But the other team goes down and scores. 7-3 doesn't help you there. Then you got to score a touchdown. You're down by a touchdown already. You got to score a touchdown or more.
Right.
So,
and like you said, it does something to the team. Like imagine Josh, you guys just paid me $300 million to not trust me in a 4th and 2. You put the punt team out to try to get it instead of me and Diggs and Gabe Davis and all these people. Why? And you could tell it bothers him too. And I was at the Texans game when it was pouring rain and we won 40-0. Bills Mafia, when McDermott elected to kick field goals in the red zone instead of going for it, we let him have it. The whole stadium was booing him. And it wasn't a joke. They were people said we were booing Beasley when we said bees instead of boo.
Yeah.
We were booing McDermott heavy.
I love
because
that.
it's the Texans. But we went for 5 field goals. It was like 4 or 5 field goals in a row in the red zone. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you're playing against this team. You can afford to miss a 4th down to go for a touchdown here when you got this team. Yeah. We ended up winning 40-0, but at halftime it was
80-0. Yeah.
So it's like stuff like that. Why wouldn't you try to put it away? And it's just it's from stuff like that just frustrating because if you're scared to go for it against the Texans, what are you gonna do in the playoffs when you got to go for it against the Chiefs or the Patriots or the Colts or the Bucks or anybody?
Yeah.
Are you gonna be scared then? Now you're gonna trust your offense when you didn't trust them the whole season to go convert a 4th down?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, good take there. And then talk about the left tackle versus Reddick over there. We now that Dawkins, there was going to be Dawkins up there, but now that Dawkins out, and we don't know who's going to be over there. They're going to have their hands full, correct?
Yeah, and the worst part is it's on Josh's blind side, unless Reddick does a lot of switching like Judon does. But whoever's that, I agree. Tommy Doyle might be good in the future, but if he's out there, I don't want Josh out there. I'll say that. But even
Josh
Spencer
is banged
Brown,
up too. Yeah.
I might be comfortable with Spencer Brown out there because, he's got talent. He's going to be good for this team. But right now, he's not a good pass blocker.
Yeah.
And you need a good pass blocker, especially at the blind side. But, I mean, Ford never played left tackle. I don't know if Williams ever played left tackle, but we're out of options. We got, you could put Bobby Hart there. I mean, realistically, you could put Hart, Ford, Williams, Brown, and Doyle, and I'm not comfortable with any of them at left tackle, either because of lack of experience at the position or it's because of skill.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and maybe they'll take the chance and put Bates just because, but I mean, then if he goes down, we have no backup center, and if Mitch goes down, then we're kind of screwed. So, but yeah, they got a big assignment with Reddick. I think PFF said he had 13 sacks, but some other websites said he had 11. But PFF is usually accurate, so I'm going to say that he had 13 sacks, tied for third in the league. So that's a huge matchup, and it can actually, if you put Brown out there, he might struggle, but that's what makes him better. Going against elite pass rushers like Reddick, it'll help him improve as a player, even though he might get beat a lot. I'm just worried for Josh at that point because, yeah, he hangs in there, but when you take those blindside hits, you get whiplash. You can, your head bangs around. You can hurt your back. You can hurt your leg. Like, it's just a lot of worry, and none of it might happen. It might not. He might have a great day, but he might need some help with whoever's playing left guard. He might have to do a lot of shift blocking to push him out. Mm-hmm. And one thing I saw about with Brown last week, when he missed the block, he was good at pushing outside so Josh can move up in the pocket and take a lane. So you can recover really well, but then there was times where he just got smoked so bad. He's just like, oh, wow, how is he even on the field right now? But it'll be a good learning experience for whoever's at left tackle because it's going to be someone without left tackle experience, unless it's Bates. But definitely something to be watching, especially now that Feliciano's not playing. And we already know they're probably going to put Ford at guard instead of tackle or something along those lines. So I don't want to see Josh run around all game, especially because of his foot. I know he's okay. He's not on the injury report, so he's technically not injured, but he could re-aggravate it. So I would have preferred to have a full strength offensive line. We haven't had that since week 4?
Yeah.
So, but going to be a huge assignment for whoever's playing it. They're going to have to play the best game of their life or their career if it's Spencer Brown or Tommy Doyle. I highly doubt it'll be Doyle because he hasn't had any experience really out there.
Right.
But definitely a huge ask for whoever's playing it.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Yep. And you got Brian Burns too, who's unreal, criminally underrated player. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, let's get into the impact players. We'll start with yours, Jake. On your side of the ball, you got good old Gabe Davis, Matt Milano, one of our favorites, Jordan Poyer, they're all our favorites. Who am I kidding?
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers, DJ Moore. You got Reddick as well, so we talked about him in detail, and then you got Brian Burns a little bit. So talk about the Bills side of your impact players.
I talked a little earlier about Gabe Davis eating up. I think he's having a monster day. This is before AJ Bouye was ruled out too. So now, with that being a thing, I mean, good luck. I think Gabe Davis has a monster day today. I feel good about it. Actually got a few texts in our one fantasy league. We do free ads on Sundays, but I got to add them because it's stupid how ESPN works. But anyways, a lot of people text me, hey, can I get Gabe Davis on my team? So I just added him to a couple teams in a couple different leagues. So people were all on the Gabe Davis train, and see why. I think he's going to have a good day today. So absolutely got to be on the list. He's been consistent, and I expect him to have a big day, maybe a touchdown or two. Matt Milano played lights out last week. I think he's just another guy that's just criminally underrated, does really well, does his job every week, really good in coverage, good instincts, just a really good football player. I expect him to have a monster day. Jordan Poyer, I think every week I switch between safeties of who's going to have a bigger day. Jordan Poyer always plays well at home, probably going to have an interception today. That's just my thought. And then we talked about DJ Moore a little bit. I won't beat a dead horse on that one. Hassan Reddick, you just talked about a little bit, Shawn. Super underrated player, great signing for Carolina in the offseason. I mean, he's just unbelievable. I had him at 10.5 sacks. That's on Pro Football Reference. That's what I use for it. But nonetheless, the guy's a pass rushing machine. He's so freaking good. He's developed so well. I know he's going to be ready to go, and it's going to be a challenge whoever's playing left tackle there because he's the right guy. So he's the right outside linebacker there. And then Brian Burns, I just talked about him too. Super underrated player, should be a Pro Bowler, does not get enough recognition. The guy is so good. He's so consistent. And who's ever on the other side of the line, good luck blocking that guy, because they got 2 stud pass rushers. And I am very concerned with a banged up offensive line already, with a banged up Josh Allen. I just hope things go okay.
Yeah.
But I'm worried. I am.
Yeah. Any thoughts on those takes there, Shawn?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Gabe Davis seems to be a secret weapon in words, because we already know how great he is, but
Yeah,
because of his limited reps this year, a lot of people see him as, oh, maybe he'll come alive, but we know who he is as a player. And I agree, he's going to have a great game today. He's always one to rise to the occasion also in that Colts playoff game. Matt Milano, I love Matt Milano. He's exactly what you want from a linebacker. You know, I think his weakness is getting off blocks at certain times, but he's also good at it at times too. Like, it's not he's bad every time. It's just there's moments where he just can't get off, but he hits hard, he's aggressive, and he goes 120% every play. And he's a linebacker where if he was on that 3rd and 1 that Tremaine was on, I love Tremaine, but if Milano was in that hole, Fournette would have went 2 yards back.
Yep, I was going to say he makes that tackle instead of whiffing it. Yeah, or arm tackle. Yeah,
exactly. And Jordan Poyer, our safety tandem is just you can't say more about these two, as their connection, their play. They run this as much as Tremaine's a general. The defense, they control a lot of it, and we couldn't ask any more of these two. And Poyer's Pro Bowl year, Hyde's Pro Bowl year. They should have got both Pro Bowl last year, but they're just playing outstanding. And then, like you said, with the banged up offensive line, it's going to be, I like to say, to be a blowout, but we can never know with the way this offensive line plays, because that first half in the Bucs game, that was a product of offensive line play.
Right.
Josh got a lot of heat for that first half. Oh, he didn't play great, but put anyone back there trying to run.
He wasn't able to play great. Yeah.
Yeah. So
good luck.
Yeah, he made that bad decision with that pick.
Yeah.
But I mean, with that way the offensive line was playing and the play calling wasn't designed properly for the way the defensive line was coming at you, they finally made adjustments, but it's in them to play well. They played well in the second half. So against as good as Burns and Reddick are, Shaq Barrett, JPP, Vita Vea, and Ndamukong Suh and Golston are the best D-line you'll face. So
yeah.
I'm a little worried as well, but I think after last week, they understand what's at stake now, especially with people being out. I think they'll have a bounce back week, but definitely worried.
A guy I didn't mention too, Shaq Thompson. I really like him too for Carolina, similar to Matt Milano.
Hold on to that thought for a second.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in.
We'll be talking about him in a second.
I'll let you talk about him. All right.
I was also one of those guys that added Gabe to my roster of fantasy football. This is my second time. I actually added him in the draft, late round, when we drafted, and I really thought this was going to be a breakout year for him. And we already talked about some of the reasons why that may not have happened. But I've re-added him, and I have to look to see if I can get him in my lineup and see if I feel that he has a better opportunity than some of the other guys. But yeah, he is a game changer. And when he came in last week, there was a different spark. I mean, I don't wish injuries to anyone, and Emmanuel Sanders, I think, is still going to help us tremendously down the road. But there was just a different energy when Gabe Davis was in that lineup. And like you said, in the red zone, Shawn, I mean, he's the guy. He and Diggs, go-to guys. Obviously, Knox has also stepped up a little bit this year for that guy as well. But good stuff. All right, let's move on to Shawn's impact players. Shawn, on your side of the ball, you got Beasley. You got the whole offensive line there. I love it. And you got Matt Breida, who I'm telling you, the guy where you're wearing the jersey for Singletary, Devin's going to be a little upset because he'll watch the show and you're going to hear something about this. But talk to me about those guys on the Bills.
Well, I'll start with the Breida one first, and I'll mention why it's Breida, not Singletary, is because with the way they call run plays, it's up the gut every time. And we know that's not Devin, or it's supposed to be Moss's forte, but it's not.
Yeah.
They're using motor in the wrong way. But Breida, I pick him because I think they're going to use him in the screen game more, and he might break off a couple ones with he's got a quick burst, and he's a little bit quicker than Motor, even though Motor runs a 4.6. But the Panthers aren't a good run team on the outside, so that's why I think they would. I picked Breida because he's got the quick burst, where Singletary is quick, but the way Breida is, he's cutting quick. Singletary he can turn nothing into something, but with the way their run defense is, I think Breida is just a better option considering he's got a quicker speed to the outside, and they might use him in the screen game more. I can see Singletary having a great game too, though, because we all know who he is and how he can play. It's just the way, we ran with Pat DeMarco in 19.
Yeah.
A whole different run scheme, and now we got a whole different thing and an O-line that can't block, and we've seen Singletary take a 3-yard loss to a 20-yard gain, so he could have a good game, but I picked Breida for the purpose of his catching and quick burst on the outside. I chose Beasley because there should be no reason he's never involved 8 to 10 catches a game or targets a game, because he's always open. He's always a chain mover, and he can get you if he catches it 2 yards away, he can get at least 2 more if someone's not on his tail already, because he's good at just shooting himself forward and getting those extra the little chain moving plays, and he's consistent. He doesn't drop many balls, and like I said, he's a pretty good route runner, even though he's getting up there in age. So you got to go to him more, because once you start throwing to Beasley, then that takes attention off of Diggs and Knox and Davis, and then the whole playbook opens up really. And then I don't know how many of my shows you guys watched yet, but every show I say a key to winning the game starts with the O-line.
Yeah.
Starts with the trenches, because at the lowest level of football, you learn you can't move without the O-line, and you can't stop without the D-line pushing the offensive line backwards. So if you don't win up front, it's hard to win games. You can, but it's very, very hard to do that. So especially with how bad the O-line's been this year, we got to see that. We got to see something from them, and for them to come out and play well today. Like watching Mac Jones yesterday have 5 seconds in the pocket and still throw 50% completion and throw 2 picks was just like, wow, if we can only have half of those reps with that much protection. And part of it could have been the Colts don't have a great pass rush. DeForest Buckner's their best player on the defensive line, but the O-line's got to play. They got to understand I'm a big boy. I got to want this rep more than – I played a little bit of offensive line when I was younger, but even at the youngest level, they teach you got to beat that guy every time. If you don't beat that guy, then your team's not gonna win this play, and that's a huge thing. And especially in a big moment, 4th and 1, down by 3 against the Titans. All right, guys, we got 1 play left. Let's give it all we got. Oh, we just got blown up. Oh, we lost the game. Oh man, like the O-line has to be a huge factor in every game. So that's why I picked the O-line.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And then on the other side of the ball, you got Robbie Anderson, Keith Taylor Jr. Now, we put him in there because we don't really know yet who's going to fill in for Poyer, but I'll let you speak to that, Shawn, a little bit. And then, of course, Shaq Thompson. So talk to me about those takes.
So Robbie Anderson, we know him pretty well for being on the Jets. He has had a quiet year, as you guys mentioned earlier, but he's still a guy that can beat you on the outside. He could play in the slot. He could play outside. He's got good hands. He's quick. He's aggressive. So, look for him to challenge Dane Jackson if he's on there. Or I think Teron Johnson's even a good matchup too, because there's a little bit of size difference.
Yeah.
But he's still a guy that can get you. Now, depending on who's throwing the ball, that's the other question too, because he could beat you, but if the quarterback can't get you the ball, so that's why I put him out there, because I know you already said DJ Moore, and Robbie Anderson's still a guy that can beat you pretty bad. Shaq Thompson, he's got 62 tackles, 2 interceptions, but he's about 78% in coverage, which according to PFF is kind of like it's like a starter grade, like 90 to 100 is elite.
Yeah.
80 to 90s starting, and then 70 to 80 is basically pretty above average. So he's a pretty good in coverage.
He's
and then
good, man. Yeah.
As far as CJ Henderson, Keith Taylor, there could be another option. They're both pretty bad in coverage. CJ Henderson's 45.2 in coverage, 156 passer rating allowed.
Jeez. Holy smokes. They traded for him too.
Yeah, he allows 14 yards per reception. Whereas Keith Taylor's got a 99 rating allowed in coverage, and his run stopping is about a 62%. So that's considered backup level. So it's not that great. And then pass coverage is 63. So another guy who's not that great at pass coverage. So I wrote both of them down because you might see a little bit of both, but you might even see, like against the Saints, Diggs a lot of times went away from Lattimore just to get the mismatch, not because they were scared of putting Diggs on Lattimore, but because you want to expose that weakness.
Sure.
So you might see Diggs even go switch to the left side against CJ Henderson.
Yeah.
And guess what? You might see that. So we got a good weakness that we can expose. And even to say, like, I wanted to mention, you guys said they're 21st in turnovers. They're usually there in position. They just can't get to it. Like, they tip it, they just can't pick it off. They force a fumble, they just don't pick it up. So they're there usually, and their safety is Jeremy Chin, and he's a good young safety.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
They're both players that I think we can still expose to. Gilmore's definitely their bright spot. Chin will be very good corner and very good safety in this league. And he's shown great plays this year, but I think Josh can absolutely take advantage of him also. So those are my guys for the Panthers.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I like that you put Keith Taylor on here because it looks like I think he might be the guy to go. I use this website. It's called Our Lads, and it like updates the depth charts like daily usually.
Nice.
And it has him as the starting corner over CJ Henderson right now, which is very interesting. That's insane, by the way, the passer rating that CJ Henderson's allowed. That guy's a first-round pick. The Jags took a chance on that guy. He was an early first-round pick. Traded him. That was part of the – Mike, I don't know if you remember from our one show, you put Dan Darnold on the thing as a tight end.
Yeah.
That was part of that CJ Henderson trade. So, that is insane, though. Holy crap. I did not know that statistic. That's wild. But, yeah, Keith Taylor, he's a fifth-round pick out of Washington. So, rookie guy, could definitely take advantage of him. Yeah, maybe move Stefan Diggs over on that side, teach the rookie a couple tricks.
Yeah.
Be fun to see.
Because it's all about matchups. It's not that we're scared to put Gilmore and Diggs together. When you're trying to win a game, every once in a while you might put Diggs on there, shake him up, get a 20-yard completion, get a 10-yard catch and a 25-yards after catch. It's all about strategy football, really. And if you can have an opportunity to put some stuff on film, move Diggs around, pre-snap motion, switch him with Knox or something, you got to do that stuff.
Absolutely.
Do you think the Panthers will use Gilmore as kind of like move him all over the field just to watch Diggs? You think he's that type of corner?
I don't think they'll do that because Gilmore he didn't do that with us, and I don't think he did it with the Patriots either. He's a lockdown corner, but he's not like Ramsey where he'll play anywhere.
Yeah.
So, and even Lattimore didn't do it, and Lattimore's a lockdown corner also. So I don't think the way their defense is set up, they'll move Gilmore around because I don't think they want to play man on the Bills. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Because they'll get if you go man and we go 5 wide or something, something's going to be open. So
yeah, we're winning at the line every time in that, especially with Stefan. Like I said, Stefan Gilmore's a hell of a corner. He's very good in zone coverage because he's got great instincts and great coverage skills. Not so great at the physicality of it, though.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff, guys. We got Mama Podger, which she's bringing a lot of data. She's getting into the details.
I think my dad is.
No, I was joking. It is your dad. He's hijacked her profile and now he's posting for her. But I love it. He says Josh needs to throw the long ball today, and if he has time, I think you'll see that. It's just going to be a matter of, like these guys have talked about, is the O-line going to give him time to do that today, and we'll see because they're definitely going to have a challenge on both ends with our tackles. So. I agree with that. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on the long ball today.
Yeah, take a shot. Take a few deep shots. We should be taking like 5, at the minimum, 5 deep shots a game, in my opinion, especially with Josh Allen. Just throw it.
Yeah, I agree. Can't say it any better. But like Mike said, if the line can't block for more than 2 seconds,
true.
It probably won't be a deep ball in sight. But I mean, we have the team to do it. Just the offensive line's got to, because they've shown, like I said, they've shown bright spots where Josh can sit there for hours and just, kind of thing. So if we can get a couple of those, I'm sure they'll throw it deep because that's the kind of offense we have. But definitely to start the game, you just got to take what they give you. I know, I think it was Fanatics. They put out Josh missed Sanders in the first drive.
Yeah.
But the play designed was for Singletary all the way.
Right.
So he looked at Sanders and immediately looked off because that wasn't where the play was supposed to go.
Right.
So Sanders was kind of like drawing him off so that Singletary could have more space because Josh would have looked longer.
Yeah.
It was just quick look, boom, because of the defense they run. It looked like I understand the point. It looked like Sanders just beat the guy. I mean, but like I said, the play design wasn't for Sanders. The play design was for Singletary the whole time. So,
yeah, you got to look into some of that stuff more because people are like, upon, the first time you see it, you're like, well, what the hell? You got a manual wide open. You're exactly right, though. The play was designed specifically for Devin. So, absolutely.
And then you look at that play against the Patriots where we're like, where the heck did that throw come from?
Yeah.
The guy was with Beasley. So Davis was open, but somehow he broke off that route so well. I don't know how he did it, but because Josh threw like a laser at him. And
that's where he was looking, right? That's what you thought too on that, right? He was looking for Gabe Davis in the back there. Yeah.
Yeah, because part of me was like, Beasley was wide open. Why didn't he go his way? But then you look at it more, the guy was on Beasley's back. Like, I mean, you still probably could have threw it to Beasley if you let him a bit, but the wind could have carried it.
Tough throw.
So I see why they did it. But when he threw it, he must have saw Josh's eyes carry away from Beasley, and then he started breaking earlier, and then he was able to deflect it. But it was still a good option. It was just didn't work,
Right.
So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and hopefully he takes what the defense gives him today, and I'm sure the deep ball will open up too.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Like it.
All right, guys, so we're at that point in the show, kind of wrapping things up, but let's get your predictions, and I would love, make sure, Shawn, you put that in the channel. Have your wife put her prediction out there as well. So you get 2 predictions there, Shawn. If she's watching, which you say she watches a lot of the time, she's being a little quiet today, have her get her prediction out there. But let's start with you, Jake, on how you see this game playing out, and put your prediction out there.
So I said I was going to be a little modest here. I think a lot of people, I've seen a lot of like 34-10s, 31-10 Bills, stuff like that. I think the Panthers are going to show up. They're going to play football. They're going to play us tough, but we're going to run away with it in the fourth quarter. Bills win. It's going to be like 21-17 heading into the fourth. Bills win. Stefan Diggs scores. Technically, I guess you could call it the game-clinching touchdown. So 28-17 Bills, that's my prediction. I feel like that's a solid prediction. I'm not going crazy there. I think we're still winning, but I'm not saying it's 45-0 win Bills. It's not going to be that easy.
Yeah, well, your game theory there scaring me a little bit. 21-17 going into the fourth. Oh man,
I know.
It's going to have my heart going a little bit.
Yep.
Let's get your take, Shawn.
Like I said, it's all dependent on how the O-line plays, really, and if they can hold up a little bit. I say it'd be a 35-14 game.
Wow, let's go.
As well as Cam Newton is at running the ball, I think we can handle him pretty well. And, they don't have C-Mac. Chuba Hubbard's pretty good, but he's not Jonathan Taylor. He's not even Damian Harris. So I think the defense, especially after that game and after the Bucs game, they're tired of hearing about people saying they can't tackle. They're tired of watching my show and saying they arm tackle all the time like high school kids. So I think that they're going to bounce back on defense. And again, our secondary against their receivers is a matchup, win for us. So I don't see them scoring many points, and I see us scoring a lot of points. It could be, like I said, 35-17. I would love just to win like 50-3.
I want a comfortable win too, man. I'm sick of this close stuff, but I don't know. I'm not sold yet. Yeah,
but we got to be realistic, and I think 35-14 could be a realistic score, especially because we know we've known what's at stake for weeks now, but now there's no more. Yeah, we got this game though. We can blow this game. This is it. Especially now that the Patriots lost, they got to be thinking right now. Josh would be saying, everything we want is still in view. Mm-hmm. We got to take it now. If we win today, next week means more. If we lose today, next week doesn't really mean as much because it does mean obviously, but you know what I'm saying as far as the division goes.
Exactly.
Because division, you want to win that first because that's guaranteed playoffs.
Right.
So win this week, then it makes next week even more important. And then you got the Jets and the Falcons the rest of the season. So
let's go.
We're in a good spot.
Let's go. Absolutely. I like it. So Shawn, I put your prediction in the channel already. 35-14. I got it right. I'm going to go with a little bit lower scoring. I'm going to go with a 24-14. I think the Bills hold them to 14 points. They're not a high scoring team. I talked to you about that at the opening of the show. They only average a little bit over 18 points. I think our defense is it's one of the best in the league. So I think we hold Cam and PJ Walker to 14 points and we put up 24. Right. That's my prediction there. So again, I love all these predictions in the channel. Make sure you get them in there because somebody is going to win a $50 gift card today for Amazon. And just put a number out there. Put a number. Anyhow, this has been great, guys. I really appreciate Jake, you as always. Shawn, it has been fantastic to have you on the show today. You bring a lot of good insights, and hopefully in the future we can collab again. I mean, maybe you can bring Jake on your show. He's the better looking of the two of us.
No,
and he's also the X and O guy. And I gotta say, many folks have said that Jake looks like Josh Allen. So if you have a Josh Allen lookalike on your channel,
I don't know.
Can you imagine how that's just gonna make?
I can see it.
Right? My son, my 9-year-old son, came in just out of the blues. He was looking at Jake. He goes, "Looks like Josh Allen." One of the guys who does our Wednesday show said he called Jake Josh. And after the show, I'm like, "Dude, don't you know the guy's on our channel's name is Jake?" He goes, "Oh man, he looks like Josh Allen." So that was in the back of my mind.
I love that.
And Jake, you've had other folks. Of course, the ones closest to us never see it. But you've had that. Yeah. You've had that a few times. But Shawn, over there on the Red, White, and Bills channel, fantastic stuff. And again, the link to his channel is in the description. I'm going to add some other ways, but that you can reach out to him on his social media platform. I'll get that into the description after the show. But Shawn, final thoughts from you, man.
Yeah, well, first I'll say thank you guys so much. I love being on the show. I mean, anytime you want me on, I'm never doing anything on Sunday besides games, and I love to come on. And I gotta get you. It's not just gonna be Jake, but you're both gonna come onto my channel. We'll do it all together, man. So one of these days we'll bring you onto my channel. And like I said, anytime you want me to be on yours for the pregame or anything, just give me a shout out, and I'll come by. I'll make time for it because I appreciate the opportunity. It was a great time. But for the Bills, it starts now. This is the playoffs as far as we're concerned. Yes, the Panthers, but it's a game that you have to win. You have to prove yourself every week in and week out. When the Nationals won the World Series in 2019, the coach lives by go 1-0 every day, just like they say 1-0 every week. We started off 19-31 with a 1% chance of making the World Series. We then beat the Dodgers. We beat the Brewers. We swept the Cardinals, and then we beat the cheating Astros, and then we won the World Series. So that's a good thing to live by. 1-0 every day, and as long as you get in, that's all that matters. Because we were down and out, we were 1% chance of even getting to the big dance. So
it's a great story, man.
It really is. It's probably the best baseball story, championship story that there ever was. So it doesn't matter if you're 14-3, doesn't matter if you're 12-5. You could be 9-8, and you get into the playoffs. And you get hot, because with our team, the guys we got, our defense and our offense, you don't have to be 12-5. I know we all wanted to have a better record this season, but if we can get in at 11-6, that's all that matters, because we have a team that can make a run. We have a team that can stack up and put 40 on anybody. So stay strong, Bills Mafia. I know it wasn't the year we wanted, but we still got a lot of year left, and we got playoffs coming up. So let's stay strong, and let's cheer for our boys.
Yeah, good stuff.
Love
good
that.
Stuff.
You got me fired up. I'm ready to run through a wall right now, John. Man.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Jake, final thoughts from you, man.
Circle the wagons, baby. I'm ready. Bring it. 15 minutes.
All right, let's go. 1-0. And yeah, it gives us just enough time to make our last fantasy football adjustments, get the popcorn, whatever it is, in front of the TV and fire it up. So Jake and I will see you on the post-game show around 2:00 this afternoon. Shawn, again, fantastic. Great job, man. You just you came ready, and it was amazing information. So we'll definitely see you again on your channel, hopefully back on our channel again. And Jake, always amazing job from you as well.
Thanks.
We appreciate everyone out there in the channel. Again, put your score out there, and let's see. So Big Al having one last comment here. Zane Gonzalez, kicker, out for the Panthers. Hurt in pregame workout. Interesting.
That's very interesting. Wow.
So we'll see.
So maybe the 14 point is a good. It might not be field goals from them this game.
Right. So
Lachlan Edwards, maybe about to be kicking.
Might be 16 or 15. Maybe they don't kick extra points and they go for the 2-pointers. We'll see.
Yeah.
But let's go Buffalo. Let's go. Let's get this win 1-0. Focus on this game. Do not look past this week. We can win this one. Man, the future looks bright. So let's go 1-0 today. Again, take care, guys. All right. We'll talk later. Let's go.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.